Hi YouTube, it's Art by Laura J, and I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to show you how to color a face. The last few times I've showed you how to make a female and male face and even eyes, but this time I'm going to show you how I actually color it digitally. Surprisingly, a lot of my art, well, a lot of my good art, is digital, and I'm a lot better at that than doing it traditionally. It's just how I do things, I guess. It's actually been a while since I've posted a real tutorial. I've been really stressed lately with schoolwork and just drawing because now my process is taking a lot longer than it normally would because I'm making it more realistic. And in case you're wondering, no, I have not lost my mind yet and I haven't gone insane. I think, at least. The walls are white because they're white. Well anyways, all truths aside, let's get into the video. The first step is to actually just make the sketch. Usually I do that traditionally and then put it on digitally, but I decided to all digital this time. I'm just gonna put through time-lapse because I already show you how to draw a face in another video. Check it out. Okay, finally, let's get into the actual coloring. So, first step. And if you're a Demon Slayer fan, you probably noticed that I'm drawing Tanjiro, my favorite Demon Slayer. Next is Shinobu. Shinobu is next. She's first, not next, she's first. Okay, so now it's time to get the skin color. So I just find a picture, a random one, really pixelated one too, of Tanjiro. And I use it to get all the colors I need. It's really hard with pixelated pictures. Don't use pixelated pictures, they're terrible. You have to find the right pixel that's the right color, and then you never find the right pixel that's the right color, and then you're doing this for another 3 hours. Asking yourself, what's the point? And the answer is there isn't. So now that you have your skin colors, really you only need 3 of them. You need your base color, you need the dark color, and then you need the lightest color. I start out with drawing just the darkest color because I'm better at adding lighter colors on top, but you could always start with the base color. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm actually coloring the skin a layer below the line art, and I'm going to eventually turn the line art down so I can use it as a guide when I color. And this doesn't have to be a very clean coloring. It can be very messy. In fact, I'm always very messy when I make this. Even my line art, if you look at it, it's also pretty messy because it's really like you're gonna cover it with the hair and you really don't need to make it so clean. And I really kind of get annoyed when people try to make it all perfect because you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be able to hide all the things you're not good at. That's what I do. I mean, eventually you have to get better at it, but really, like, the reason why you think a lot of artists are great is because they're showing you what they're good at. That's what their art is, a display of what they're good at, not a display of what they're not good at, because then you wouldn't think they're good artists, right? After you put the base color, the darkest color, even the lightest color, whatever is easiest to put down first and then build off of, turn the sketch layer all the way down to like 17 or 5%. So I can really use it as more of a mapping out where I want things to be. For the next part, create another layer and clip it to the layer below it. This will allow you to color only within the place you colored in the bottom layer, so you don't have to worry about coloring out of the lines. Okay, so now we're going to start adding the highlights. So I decide first where I want the light source to be, and I want it to be right above him. So I start adding the light in all the important places, such as behind the ears, along the jaw, on the back of the neck, or the sides of the neck, whatever you're seeing there. And the tip of the nose, the bottom lip, the chin. Oh my god, there's a lot of these things. The eyelids, the tops of the cheeks, and a little bit of the forehead. I try to keep all these shapes that I'm making with the base color really simple. Something not too complicated, because when it gets too complicated, it doesn't look good. It looks like it's too much. I also take off the sketch layer every now and then just to see how I'm going and how to make progress. How does it look without the mapping? Because eventually I don't want it there anymore. Now I'm taking a blending tool and starting to blend out all the parts that are a bit too bright. Like, it's not going to be bright in all those, like really bright in all those places. It's going to be more of a gradient. So you have to show that through blending. That's why I didn't go too crazy with the base color everywhere. This whole time, I'm blending along my guidelines that I created with my sketch. Trust the sketch. The sketch is there to help you, I think. Sometimes it isn't. Then don't trust it at all. But for the most part, trust what you're doing. And make sure at those points where it sticks out, like the nose and the chin, Try to use more rounded strokes, because although you think it's digital art, it doesn't matter how I do it, it really does matter, and it is very similar to actually painting it. For the cheeks, instead of going in a more, like, instead of just shading it down normally, I go in more of a triangular manner, try to make a triangle out of the shape. And usually this way, the whole thing just turns out better. Usually after I blend it out once, I kind of get rid of some of the intensity that I did want. So I add the base color again. And this usually allows me, and also some other areas, like such as on the eyebrows, because that part actually does stick out, but it's covered by the hair. And since I want to just show you how to make the face, I think it's important to know. I mean, you're making someone with eyebrows, hopefully. I mean, you could always make Gara. Gara doesn't have eyebrows, but then that would be important. But the point is that that part actually sticks out a little bit, so that has to be highlighted. And as well as the philtrum. The philtrum has to be highlighted just a little bit, not too much. Later I'm going to blend that out a lot, so it's a very light highlight, nothing too strong. And I also do a little bit of highlights right above the upper lip, because at that point the lip starts to go inward and it's really, really dark, but there's this one part at the top that sticks out, and that's the part you want to make light. And with the nose, those nostrils, they've got to be dark. Could be really dark. But you also have to remember the skin around the nostrils, that sticks out, so that's going to be very, very bright. As well as the tip, which I have to make better. All in a day's work. So now it's time for a different kind of blending. Usually after this, the sketch looks pretty messy and it doesn't look really nice. I mean, you can see the face coming out from it, but it doesn't look that great. So to make those edges I created from doing all that harsh blending, I take a blur tool and I blur out all the little details I don't want. But there, of course, is other details and other sharp contrasts that I do want, which you have to make sure you don't blur out. Because if you blur those out, then the whole thing will look really, really soft, and it won't look sharp, and it won't look like a face, and then you'll be very upset with what you have. So you have to make sure you're only blending out the detail that makes it look messy, not the detail that makes it look realistic. And that's a little hard, like, to find the right consistency. That's usually something personal. Sometimes people like it more soft, and some people like it more harsh. It's good to find a balance, though. And overall, after the blending part, the sketch, the whole thing just looks a lot cleaner. It looks more professional. And just like last time, I feel that some of the intensity has been lost. So I go in, add some more brightness, a little more shadows, fix those up. And to add the shadows, all you have to do is erase, because you create another layer over it. So you're really not affecting the dark layer under it. So it's still there. Makes it all easier. And as you can see, the places I'm adding light to is the bottom lip, and top of the nostrils, the bridge of the nose, the eyelids, and maybe a little bit to the side of the face. So now we see the face starting to form, but the only problem is that it looks kind of doll-like. There's no life. I mean, besides there having no eyes, no eyebrows, and a lot of other things that are not there, but it's just face doesn't have any life in it. So what I do is I take this dark red, this maroon color, and I use an airbrush to lightly brush over some of the shadows, and I use a normal brush to just put it in really, really dark parts, such as the nostrils, the lips, especially the upper lip, the crease between the eyes. the insides of the ears, the neck or the jawline. I also use it to shape the nose a little bit more, to make it more defined. I also end up using the red to give him these crease marks that make him look angry instead of look solemn. And under the mouth. I do this mainly to form the bottom lip, so I don't have to actually make it. I use a shadow to make it. I personally believe a lot of this process is kind of following your gut and how you think things should look. Not really just following a book. Finding the right balance between soft and harsh shadows, where you want the highlights, how you want it to be highlighted. It all comes with practice and time. So work hard and you'll get good. That's how I got good. As you can see here, I'm adding in the teeth. I decided to go simple with them, nothing too fancy. I didn't actually make the little teeth. I just kind of drew a gray line and added some white highlights. Now that I have the shadows and the base color, and of course the redness in the skin to make him look like he's alive, it's time to add the highlights. I put it on the edge of the nose, on top of the bottom lids of the eyes to show the waterline, a little bit on his lower lip, his chin, on top of his nostrils, and a little bit of shading because it was getting too light. Well, that's it for coloring the skin. I'm going to have another video drawing the eyes. If you don't want to have nightmares forever, you can see him with eyes in the next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you like, subscribe, and comment, because I'd like to know what you think of the video. And have a good day. Bye!